Hello, my name is Raziel Cohen from ndftraining.com. Today we're going to be talking about flashlights. There are three different categories when it comes to using flashlights. The goal of the video today is to introduce you to the three different categories and show you what the benefits are of each, and also maybe help you make a decision on which one you need to purchase. So there are three categories of lights. There are what's referred to as everyday carry lights, pistol lights, and rifle lights. Some of these are able to be worked with each other. For example, these lights are able to be used on a rifle or a pistol, but generally these are the categories the way that they're laid out. Everyday carry lights are important for two reasons. First of all, just to have a light in general. The second reason is because a lot of people have the tendency that if they end up dropping their keys in a parking lot, you don't want to be the person who takes out their rifle or takes out their pistol to use the light that's on it. So you want a dedicated everyday carry light that's able to be used without the thought of taking out your firearm. Now, some people might say that it's okay to use their phone as like an everyday utility-based light. The issue that comes down to that is that you never want to use something that could be potentially used as your emergency communication, as your backup light. So try to leave your phone as being your phone, but for defensive use and for general utility, it is better to have a dedicated light. So we're going to go through the categories from everyday carry to pistol mounted to rifle mounted. So in the everyday carry, there's a very basic one. This is an Olight light. They're very, very cheap. It's probably around 80 lumens, I believe, in brightness. Just to clarify, by the way, there's a big difference between lumens and candela. Lumens is a measurement of light, like a general brightness. Candela is a measurement of the hot spot. So the center of the light, how hot it is, will be dependent on the number rating that it's given. In the tactical world, we're usually more focused on the candela because that's usually what ends up being the blindingness effect that is very good for defensive use. So this is very good. It has able to be put onto a keychain. It's very, very simple, very basic, and it's a good basic kind of utility light. A step up from that for like EDC is more of like a defensive EDC light. This is the Surefire EDC L2. This is around, I believe, 1200 lumens with a very, very high candela. So this light is able to completely show you that there's a big center and a outer beam. So the center beam is usually the hot spot. So when you're focusing on a target or when you're focusing on an individual, this will be something that will be very blinding to them and give you more control of the situation. So these lights are great. It also comes with a hand strap that you're able to put around your hand like that. So you could kind of use both hands, and if you need to use the light, you could just hit it right over there and still be able to use your hands properly. The next category of lights are pistol lights. So this is a much smaller one. This is the Streamlight TLR7. It was very popular for a while, but the big issue that ended up happening for me, which is why I don't use this as often anymore, is that the buttons are a bit difficult to press. You kind of have to really push in order for it to actually go off. It's also around 500 lumens in comparison to other EDC lights that are available today. It's just not up to par for what I would consider to be a good light. It is nice that it's very small and low profile, so if that's something that you're very specifically looking for, then this is a good option. Just, it's very important to try to practice using and manipulating these buttons on both sides to just make sure that you're comfortable with it, because for me, it was just a bit too low and too difficult to press, which is why I kind of stopped using this one. What I do use, and what you can see is very well used, is this is a Streamlight TLR1 HL. It's the high lumen EDC light. And this is a very, very great light because it has a very nice hotspot, and the batteries are also very readily available. A quick tip, by the way, is that you'll notice that when you're shooting pistols, you have a lot of carbon buildup that comes up on the lens. Usually if you use a very basic eraser and you just really go at it, it'll definitely start cleaning it up as opposed to trying to use some kind of wipe, because carbon could be really strong. So already with doing a little bit of work there, you're able to take off a lot of the carbon. So that's kind of what I end up using. So this is my beater light. It's used most in comparison to all the other lights that I have. And it's very, very much a recommended option for your defensive use. The last category of lights are rifle lights. Now, this is an Olight PL Pro. This is able to be used on a pistol, but for me, the issue that I had is that the hotspot is so strong on this light. For indoors, it was a bit difficult for me to use. I would prefer something like the Streamlight, which kind of has a bigger, wider outer beam. It does have a good hotspot, but for indoors or for close quarters, this was something that was much more beneficial to me. It also depends on what your purpose of use is. If you're someone who might be shooting past 25 yards, then this might not be as good as this option because the hotspot on this one is much better. So you also really have to take those into consideration. These are really good because it has a quick detach on and off switch, so it's very easy to put on and off. I primarily use this on my rifle. Right over here, you'll see that there's an area that you could put a pad where I'll attach to the other side of the rifle, and I could use my finger to actuate that light. And I really enjoy using that. It's very comfortable to me and very natural to me. Again, in comparison to this one, this has a very high center beam, which if you look right over here, since it's close up, you'll see how strong that center beam is. It does have a nice outer one as well, but it's going to be hard to see in this lighting. But that's a very common and what I'm now starting to use as my primary light on a rifle. Another awesome rifle option is this one. This is an Inforce WML. This is an 800 lumen one. The only downside to this one is the weight is a bit high, but what's really good is if you have this on the left side of your rifle and you're a right-handed shooter, then you could be actuating this switch with your left thumb, which also makes it really good. This also does have a nice center hotspot. Again, this is around 800 lumens. This is like 15. So for 1500 lumens, you get a much larger throw for distance as opposed to this one where it's only 800, we don't get that much distance. So this is still kind of just an overview of the different categories of lights. It's still very important for you to kind of do your own research and really make sure you're getting a light that's intended for the purpose you're trying to use it for. So if it's for EDC, you're obviously not going to use this light for something that would be mounted on a rifle. So just take those things into account. Also, it's good to kind of study up on the difference between lumen and candela so you understand the brightness level. Because also, if you have a very, very high candela but a very low lumen, then yes, you're going to get a very strong hotspot, but that might not still be beneficial for what you're trying to use it for. If you're interested in in-depth video on any of these lights that are here, please let me know so I can see if I'm able to do that for you, whether it be the Inforce, O-Light, Streamlight, another Streamlight, Surefire, or the EDC O-Light. A lot of these lights have a lot of things in particular that are going to be good to review for themselves. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, let me know. I hope this video helped clarify the differences between the categories of flashlights, as well as the importance of having one on you in general. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us at ndftraining.com.